ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Lap Down. We are doing this on a Monday night right after the Martinsville race. I'm your host, Greg Farmer, and with me tonight is Jayme and Tyler. How we doing, fellas?
What's up, man? Been a little hiatus, but I think it was needed for all of us, but ready to get into it. We got a jam-packed and show, and can't wait to see how next week goes.
Yep, I was on a little bit of a hiatus. I was on Super Baby Watch. Baby did not come yet, so we are looking at Wednesday of this week. So my attendance next week is up in the air as far as where he's concerned and stuff. There's Tyler. But as always, a special thank you to our band, the Alkali Project, for the intro and outro music on this show. We thank you, Will. We miss you. Love your insight. Hope you get to come back soon. But we are just going to dive right in. So we have some more news regarding the lawsuit for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports against NASCAR. They had their injunction hearing this morning, and not a whole lot of info came out about it, but there were some pieces that Bob Pockris put out today. He said some things learned at the hearing. 2311, their sponsors and Reddick are free to leave the team if they run as an open team next year. Regarding whether or not they are still operating as a chartered race team next year. And the NASCAR attorney also said that nearly half of the broadcast revenue goes to the teams as part of the new charter agreement, which is something that all of the teams wanted from this new charter agreement, was more revenue coming in. That's literally about everything that came out. As far as today, I can try to scroll back and see if there might be a little bit, but Jayme, what are your thoughts on this ever-developing story?
It's wild. That's all I can really come up with. It's definitely not going the way I expected it was going to go, especially with the news that came out today. Like, there could be a very real possibility that, like, Tyler Reddick and his sponsors can pull out. And it's, I don't know. This is a unique scenario, a unique situation, and I just didn't think it was going to be like this kind of stuff was going to be coming out.
Yeah, I agree. There's another note here. Said someone asked about the charters that Row Motorsports and 2311 purchased from Stewart-Haas Racing. Those purchases were basically like denied by NASCAR because of this whole lawsuit. The team's attorney, Jeffrey Kessler, said that he expects the purchases of the charters from Stewart-Haas Racing to go forward as planned. Now, we don't know if the teams are going to win or if NASCAR is going to win. That is yet to be seen. But a little interesting news nugget. Brad Moran, who works for NASCAR, maybe kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit and said something about Ryan Preece running for RFK next year in the 60 car, which would tell me that RFK is in the market for a charter or has already gotten a charter, and the news is coming very soon. What do you guys think about that?
I didn't catch that. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It was talking about the Stewart-Haas Racing charters that got purchased by Front Row in 2311 that got denied. The team's attorney said that he expects the purchases to go forward. Now, granted, whether or not they win or not, remains to be seen. But Brad Moran from NASCAR maybe kind of slipped up a little bit earlier this week or last week and said that Ryan Preece was going to be running for RFK next year in the 60 car, which would mean they would have to get a charter.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did hear about that. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, especially with the off season looming within a week. This is gonna be a very, very, very great, crazy, silly season.
Yep. I mean, it kind of makes sense too, because that would keep Preece in the Ford camp.
Yeah, that's definitely. Usually, there's not much going on for silly season for a while, but between the court stuff this week, potentially next week, and then all the other ins and outs, I think silly season's not going to be so boring. It's going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like silly season started in like April of this year.
You're not wrong.
I mean, we had news coming out like way early this year, like the Josh Berry news and all that good stuff. Like it's been a wild year, and then you throw this lawsuit right on top of that. It just makes it that much. I've said it before. NASCAR never not gives us anything to talk about. But obviously, like we keep saying, there'll be more and more news coming out over the coming weeks and months, leading into next season. But, we had a action-packed weekend at Martinsville. It was a triple header weekend. Trucks ran Friday night, Xfinity Saturday, and Cup ran yesterday. We will start with the trucks. Their final four has been set for the championship weekend. It will be Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, Grant Enfinger, and Corey Heim, running for the Truck Series Championship. A little bit of a controversy regarding the truck race on how Christian Eckes and Taylor Gray raced each other in the closing laps that led to what we thought was going to be a in victory lane. Starting with Jayme, out of those four, who would you pick to win the championship, the Truck Series Championship this weekend at Phoenix?
If I was a betting man, I am probably going Christian Eckes.
I can't disagree there. He's had one heck of a year, but I wouldn't rule out Ty Majeski. He's been good at Phoenix, but Grant Enfinger came on strong there. He won Talladega and Homestead, like 2 of the 3 races in the round of 8 for them. So I mean, honestly, performance wise, any one of them could win it. What about you, Tyler?
Oh, I'm actually going with Christian Eckes if he doesn't get if none of the championship contenders get dumped like last year.
Oh yeah, there's always that possibility.
Yep, most definitely.
Mm.
So if we're going off of the lap down polling, that's Christian Eckes has a 66% chance of winning the championship based off of our poll.
He's got to be aware of Taylor Gray, who he punted out of the way for the win.
Yeah, but for once, Tyler, you and I agree on something, but I don't see that happening very long.
Oh, bro, you're from the Washington, Delaware area. I'm a New Yorker. New Yorkers aren't supposed to agree with anybody.
On the Xfinity Series side, Eric Almirola won the Xfinity Series race on Saturday. The final four is Cole Custer, Austin Hill, AJ Allmendinger, and Justin Allgaier. Allmendinger won Vegas, and Austin Hill won Homestead, which left 2 guys to battle it out for points, and it ended up being
Custer versus Chandler. Custer versus Chandler.
Yeah, pretty much. again, I mean, I heard this on the teardown today when I listened to it.
I
You
think we
could.
lost him. You said you said the words that made Greg disappear.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
You still there, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just talking about us.
Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you now.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
can hear you, Greg.
All right, there we go. I heard this on the teardown earlier today. You know, Austin Hill and AJ Allmendinger, you could say that they're specialists to certain types of tracks because they don't normally win on like the ovals or whatnot. Like, Austin Hill could be considered a super speedway specialist, and Allmendinger is a road racing specialist. Out of those four, I would probably have to pick Justin Allgaier. I think this is his year.
I
might kind of have to agree.
I wouldn't be upset at that. However, when we're looking at just consistency and big pressure situations, I'm going to have to go with AJ Allmendinger, which is weird to say because I used to always look at him as just a road courser, but he's vastly improved his oval racing, and that veteran mindset could be the difference maker this weekend.
And I actually kind of agree with you guys. So 3 for 3. AJ Allmendinger, he won to get his way into the championship for, I believe, Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Allmendinger, yes, he did.
So he's good. He's been good on the intermediate. If you look at his last few years at Phoenix in general, for both the spring and the thing, his average finish is 9.8. So he's pretty good at Phoenix.
Yep. Now on the Cup side, before we get into the Final Four, we got to get into the big juicy.
Race manipulation.
There were basically four guys in must-win situations. You had Ryan Blaney. Kyle Larson wasn't really in a must-win. And then you had Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott came out swinging this weekend, and I thought that he was going to be the favorite to win. But it ended up being a long run at the end, and Ryan Blaney had the best car on the long runs, and he ended up getting, for the second year in a row, getting one of those walk-off wins to make the championship four. And but the controversy was behind him. So William Byron was hemorrhaging positions because he stayed out on older tires on what was the final restart, and they couldn't lose anymore, else they were going to lose their points position. But Christopher Bell, who he was battling with in the points, was trapped a lap down, and was running, I believe, 19th at the time. Now Byron fell to 6th and had a 1-point cushion over Bell. And it seemed like Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain kind of formed a blockade behind them, like a Chevy brigade, if you will. Did not allow anyone to pass Byron to give up that one position. And then on the last lap, Christopher Bell needed one spot, and it seemed like Bubba Wallace all of a sudden just tanked. And Bell got by him going into the final corner and then got into the wall and basically pulled a half Ross Chastain to the finish line. And we waited around for about they said it was 27, 28 minutes for NASCAR to review all of the footage and all that good stuff, and indicated that Bell had a safety violation for riding the wall. inadvertently took him out of the playoffs and put William Byron in by 4. Your championship 4 for the Cup side is Logano, not Bell, Logano, Blaney, Reddick, and Byron. Now, I know Tyler wants to rant about this, and we will give him the opportunity, but I would like to hear Jayme's thoughts on this first.
So actually, I want to hear Tyler before I give my thoughts. I'm excited to hear this.
Okay, take it away, Tyler.
Oh my, where do I begin? So I actually am on the side of race manipulation. One, because if you actually listen to the spotter info between Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon, and Bubba Wallace, they both got told Ross Chastain and Austin Dillon got told to hold their position so Byron could get the 1 point. And they were clearly faster than Byron, like beyond faster. But my problem with Bubba is I don't think he actually had a flat tire. And he slowed down intentionally to let Bell back. But why I am pissed off about it is because if you think about it, it takes credibility out of the sport. And the playoff system causes it. Every fucking year it comes down to something stupid like this. I don't think William Byron or Christopher Bell should be in the Final Four. They should both be disqualified and given the last and second to last point due to the fact that they were involved in the manufacturer plan, and NASCAR doesn't have control of their sport. OEMs and TV deals have control of the sport, and they don't give a shit of what NASCAR and the officials say.
All right. Well, let me ask you this question. Now we know Ross Chastain and Austin Dillon, formed the blockade. They had some sort of
That was blatant.
They had some sort of communication and all that stuff. But what did William Byron do wrong in that instance?
Well, William Byron knew about the plan. He knew about it. That's the thing. That's what I'm getting at. Is he knew they were doing that. And
what proof do you have of that?
You can look at telemetry at the end of the race.
Byron was on 85 lap older tires than everybody else. His telemetry is going to be way off.
Yeah.
Right. But if you look at Austin Dillon's and Ross Chastain's telemetry, you can tell they were purposely slowing down to let Byron.
No, I don't think anyone disagrees with you on them slowing down, but to go out there and say that William Byron was in on the whole thing, I think is pretty ludicrous.
I don't actually think Bell, well, let me rephrase that. I think Bell got tucked by being sun up to the wall. He did. If he had just hit the wall and bounced off it and rode and pushed the gas and went back, I think he would have been fine. But he just gassed it up and went around the wall. That was his own fault.
He knew what he was doing. That's the difference.
Yeah, right. Right. That's where the safety violation. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jayme, please. Go ahead, Jayme.
I was going to say, and that's where I kind of sit on everything. Like, I hate that William Byron is kind of stuck in the middle of something that he didn't want anything to be a part of. He was just trying to get that race done as fast as he possibly could with how gone his tires were. He had no control with what the other Chevy teammates were doing behind him. But Bell, on the other hand, he knew his only shot was to do a half Hail Melon. And unfortunately, like, I know that it's the right call, and I'm glad that NASCAR took the time to make the right call. But if we look at the different scenarios, intentional wall riding by Bell, that's case in point number one. Number two, let's say they took your role, Tyler, and they being very upset because now it's like, oh, Carlin to create the championship for when he was clearly out of it. And then number 3 is, even in all of this, I feel that the 2 Chevy drivers who created said blockade, there should be repercussions for them and their crew chiefs. Which 100%. We may see it in the upcoming weeks. We may still see it, because I highly doubt this is the last news that we're going to get of that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that is the 3 case in points, but William Byron being in the playoffs, I think, is the absolute correct call. He had no part of the blockade. Yes, his car was there, but it was the other drivers creating said blockade. So I put no fault on William Byron. I hate that the narrative is there. I hate for him that it wasn't there just by skill and just driving as best as he possibly could. But I think NASCAR definitely made the right call.
Yeah. Now, NASCAR did say that they will be reviewing video and audio evidence this week, and that we could see more penalties coming as far maybe as early as Wednesday of this week. Now, mind you, they do a teardown of the cars at post race, and I don't think they found anything that broke on Bubba Wallace's car post race.
But that's the problem I was getting at. That's where I was getting at.
Right, and I don't disagree with you. I mean, if you look at the last lap and a half, Byron got by Bubba coming to the white, and then Bubba, it looked like he was just running 30 miles an hour out there. And then Bell just all of a sudden happened to catch him going into turn 3. Now the thing is Bell got by Bubba going into 3, and then just completely overdrove the corner, and like you said, hit the wall. And instead of just coming off the gas, turning left and getting off the wall, he hit the gas and rode the wall all the way to the finish line. And that's where the safety violation came in, because obviously we all saw 2022 with Ross Chastain. They made that move illegal for a reason. There's a crossover gate right off of turn 4. And if he hits it the wrong way, that car is literally disintegrating into a million pieces all over the front stretch, and someone's going to get killed.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And like I said, Bell, like, you could look in the camera on the race, like, Bell knew without a shadow of a doubt what he did. There was not a smile on that kid's face in any way, shape, or form, because he knew. But when it comes to race manipulation, I think this is the bigger conversation that we need to transition to, guys. It's not... Teams working together is not a new concept. We mostly only talk about it during restrictor plate races, because that's really the only time that you see the brands come together and formulate plans that the simple viewers of watching TV or being at the track can see. But they're always communicating. They're always trying to figure out what needs to be done to make sure that their manufacturer gets the best possible finish, or what is most important to that manufacturer. And that's NASCAR is a team sport. Most people think of team as in like the race teams, like 2014 versus 48 versus 20 versus 1 versus 7, if you want to throw them out there. But the team in all of it is more on manufacturer. It's manufacturers going at it against other manufacturers. And unfortunately, rather than just talking about the race and how excited we're going to see the Final Four competing it out for all the marbles next week, we get we're talking about sabotages and how can we openly on the radio talk about how are we going to get one of our guys to get the best possible spot that he can have, or let's prevent everybody from being able to pass him because we don't want him to lose his playoff spot.
No.
It's
Okay. Can I add something, Jamie? So now, team orders have been in sports forever. That goes back to like the 50s and 60s. You know, team orders have been around for every motorsport. But my problem with that is the fact that like the manufacturers, like from upper up, hold them to do this, which makes it very, very suspicious. I mean, I get it from if it's from directly from like the team itself, but being from a higher up, like Chevy, Toyota, that's a bad look on you. Manipulating the race for a team that you're like you're not technical manufacturer alliance, but you're technically not allied to them. If you think about it.
Oh no, I 100% agree with you. I'm just saying these things happen a lot more often than what meets the eye. It's just this time around we got radio confirmation of what was going on.
Yep. And I mean, look back at the Roval in 2022 with Cole Custer and Chase Briscoe. On the last lap, you know, Cole Custer intentionally slowed down to give Briscoe the spot so he could make the final round or the next round. And NASCAR brought the absolute hammer down on Cole Custer. So if they find, you know, egregious evidence this week, I would imagine the same principle is going to apply.
Yeah, and Tyler, one thing I will say is, Greg, you're going to have to show me how to do the recording part, because if there's big news that comes out later on this week, Tyler, I feel like me and you should do a quick, 15-minute emergency pod, just going over the details right before race weekend.
We should get Ryan in on that one, because I think Ryan would love to talk about it too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll do like a quick 15-minute.
Yeah, that's not a bad. I know how to do the recording, and I just need to know who I'm sending it to.
Ben.
Just send it to Ben.
All right. Like I said, I know how to record. Like, I know how to do all that. Just let me know when you want to do it. Yeah. And my biggest thing on this is the fact that, like, think about it. Just think about it, because NASCAR technically wants this type of. Think about it. NASCAR's entertainment. This is what they want. Now we have it, and no one's happy.
I think TV wants it. NASCAR wants to fly under the radar as much as they possibly can and not have their drivers and their rules packages and their officials and everything else to be under question. If I was to make a bold statement about this year and of NASCAR, despite the great performances on the track, I think this has been the worst year for NASCAR because their integrity has been questioned.
My personal opinion has been the integrity of the sport's been in question since Springate 2013.
But
no, I mean you're always going to have fans that are going to question officials. That's common with any sport. Any sport.
You're never not going to question
this year alone, between questionable calls on the track, between the court cases, between the charters, between race manipulations, and just drivers doing dumb stuff, teams doing dumb stuff. Despite all the great finishes that we've had and all the great excitement that we've seen with these new cars, that is going to be the narrative of NASCAR 2024.
And the funny part is 2014 was honestly one of the best seasons. Looking back 10 years ago was one of the best seasons in NASCAR.
Well, that's because Dale Jr. won 4 races in 2014.
And it was one of the most competitive championships since, I believe, 2005. 2011.
I do want to counter something that you said. You know, you said that, you know, people wanted this and now we have it and nobody's happy. I wouldn't go as far as saying that nobody's happy, because I'm looking at Jeff Gluck's good race poll right now, and 75% said it was a good race.
mean, yeah, it was a good race. Don't get me wrong. But the integrity of the race was tainted by what happened at the end.
Oh yeah, obviously. Now before we go into who we think is going to win the Cup championship, I want to bring this up so it doesn't get lost in translation. They did bring a new tire compound this weekend for the Cup Series. Brought the option tire from Richmond to run on the right sides of the car, and then they ran an even softer compound on the left sides. Now, I watched the race in its entirety. Yes, it did get strung out like a typical Martinsville race normally does. It doesn't matter the car and all that, but in my opinion, this may be the best Martinsville race we've had in the next gen car.
Oh, I 100% have to agree. 1,000%.
Yep, I agree as well.
It was actually a really good strat. It was a great strategy race, and I actually really liked it with the strategy aspect of it. With the softer tires.
And because of strategy and the tires, Chase Elliott almost did the dang thing.
He almost did.
Chase Elliott was extremely fast.
Yep, but Blaney just had that slightly better on those long runs. He came from 6 seconds back to run Larson and Elliott down and passed them with 10 to go?
Yep.
I mean, that's great. The fact that
Did you guys see how dirty those cars were after the race too, with all that freaking rubber flying off? It was like landing on the fender wells and the sides of the cars and stuff.
Dude, we haven't seen that. Remember how dirty the cars used to be back like 10, 15 years ago? Like the Gen 4 cars, how dirty they were.
Back when even the fans were leaving the grandstands saturated in tire rubber. I miss that.
Well, after all the controversy, we got the Final Four set. Jayme, who do you think is going to win the Cup championship on Sunday?
Oh boy, it's hard to go against the irony of pattern that is Joey Logano, but I'm gonna go for something that hasn't happened in a long time. I'm going back to back. I'm going Ryan Blaney.
All right.
That's respectable.
What about you, Tyler?
I honestly think Tyler Reddick pulls it off.
Yep. Remember how strong
Toyotas were back in the spring?
Yep. He also tied the race high in laps led too. He led 68 laps. My heart says William Byron because I'm true to Hendrick Motorsports.
Yep.
But something is screaming at me that Tyler Reddick's going to take it home this weekend. And I was telling my wife this yesterday. It is going to, if Tyler Reddick wins the championship on Sunday, it is going to be absolute TV gold for Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, and Tyler Reddick to be standing on that stage and have Steve Phelps present them the Cup Series championship in the midst of everything that is going on.
Yeah. And then all the TV coverage of Jordan adding another championship to his already illustrious career, not just as a player, but now as an owner. Denny Hamlin finally getting a championship.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually
technically gets a championship. Yeah, actually, you're right. He technically does have a championship, even when he's not in the Final Four. If he wins that,
if you're Denny Hamlin,
count it. I personally count it, honestly.
Man, if you can't beat him, join him. That's Denny Hamlin's motto.
I mean, as much as I hate Denny Hamlin, I actually if Reddick wins, I actually will give Hamlin the credit he deserves as a team owner.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't like Hamlin as a driver, but I love Hamlin as a person because I love his podcast because he tells it like it is. Like he's not afraid to, just speak his mind. And, when you really go back and think about it, he really has been like the voice for these drivers.
Yeah. And one thing that you probably will notice with me in this podcast, if I'm talking about Denny Hamlin, the race car driver, I refer to him as Dennis the Menace. But if
So when
I'm
you're
referring
talking
to
about
him as a person or the team owner, I go by his actual name.
I
And
met him.
that
I
is
met
with all
him.
respect.
I've actually met him in person. He's really cool. I get the hate because he speaks his mind, but as a driver, I get it. But as a person, he doesn't need all that hate.
Yep.
Well, he's
Well,
also one of the rare people outside of Kyle Busch who was openly wanting to take on that villain role because it was much needed. You have to have
yep.
a villain in NASCAR. Kevin
Everybody
Harvick
says
was it for a little while. Jeff Gordon was it for a little while.
Tony
Jimmy
was
Johnson was it for a little while. Rowdy was it for a little while.
Kurt was the villain for a while too.
Rusty
Well,
Wallace, Dale Earnhardt.
now it's Logano and Hamlin.
Everybody says it was Larson's the villain. I don't know what people call. Why does people say that? Larson's a
No,
good dude.
anyone who calls Larson a villain is just a hater at heart. That's all it is.
They
Yep.
hate him because Larson has wins and they don't. But anyway, what we got next, right?
Sorry, Greg.
No, you guys are good. No, I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually for once am excited and hyped for championship weekend. Do I want it at Phoenix? Maybe not.
No,
I honestly wish it was at Homestead, but
this Homestead was a
maybe
banger.
Yeah.
in 2026 we'll get it. But we're gonna go into our green flags and black flags now. For our new listeners, green flags is something that we liked during the race weekend. Black flags is something that we did not like, or some things you can have more than one. We're gonna kick it off with Jayme.
Green flag. It's got to go to Ryan Blaney.
I
It's
respect that.
the whole narrative of the weekend is just the ones that need to get it done. And what a testament to showing grit in a race where he could very easily could have given up because he kept getting boggled up in traffic. But persistence with him and his team and just knowing that they had a good long run car. Kudos to Blaney's team for getting it done. I'm trying to think of a black flag that's not going to be the obvious. That's pretty tough to do considering that's all anyone's talking about right now. But I'm gonna dish it out to who was it that punched Custer? I'm blanking on his name for some reason.
Chandler Smith.
Chandler Smith.
It wasn't a punch. It was a bitch slap.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a bitch slap.
That's what I was getting at. That's why it's my black flag. If you're gonna go and swing on somebody on live TV,
you better fucking punch him.
Man, like if y'all gonna go at it, you just go tell Cole Custer to go back to NXT and that goes to LA in a WWE ring. I'd pay money to see that, but not after that little toddler punch that you threw at him. So that's my black flag. That was weak punch.
I was waiting for it.
So
that was a legit bitch slap.
Yep.
Terrible.
What about you, Tyler?
My green flag, honestly, was the racing in general. Honestly, for good job to NASCAR actually finding something that actually works and finally something that's starting to work. There was comers and goers. There was strategy. The tires were wearing, and people were actually able to race each other.
Shocker, they start giving option tires, despite what some people were saying about not wanting it to go towards what IndyCar and Formula One are doing. And shocker, racing is getting better.
Yep.
Yeah, I personally, the black flag, I honestly, I'm with Jayme on this, but I can't help myself. I have to give it to just the end of the race. Why? Just why? That's all I have to say is why.
All right. Well, I'm going in a slightly different direction here with my green flags and black flags. I have two green flags and one black flag. I'm going to give you my first green flag, and that goes to Colt Custer for the eat shit grin that he gave Chandler Smith after the bitch slap. I love that. Now, my black flag goes to Carson Hocevar. That kid was an absolute menace yesterday. We had 8 cautions, and he was involved in 3 of them by spinning someone out. My other green flag goes to Alex Bowman for giving Carson Hocevar his when he spun him out in the middle of the race.
I love that. I was waiting for you to say something about that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carson Hocevar was being an absolute shad yesterday.
When is he not? I love
He's
the
a great
kid,
driver.
man. I love him. He's got to tone it down a little bit. This ain't the truck series no more.
Same with Christian Eckes and Taylor Gray.
Yeah, I kind of have a slight beef with Carson Hocevar too. So when I went down to Darlington, me and a buddy of mine got to drive the drivers around in the trucks, and we were told by NASCAR officials that when we're in spots that are in between the grandstands, like we had the window down, we were told we were able to communicate with drivers. They're usually really nice. If we have anything, they'll sign it. That dude ignored us the entire time.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to agree. Because when I went to the Glen, he walked by a bunch of fans asking for an autograph and literally just walked by. Didn't even give a shit.
But that's neither here nor there. This is not a host of our bashing session.
Anyway,
this is all down. Daggone it.
No, we're gonna save that for DBC. No, I mean, we already kind of previewed Phoenix. We know who's racing for the championships and stuff. So we are going to do our race picks, and we have the wheel with our 3 names, and we're going to make the first spin here, and it is going to land on Tyler.
Oh wow! I actually get first pick. So as much as I want Tyler Reddick to win, I don't think he's going to win the race. I think like one of the Hendrick guys are going to win. Like I think either Kyle Larson or I'm going to take Kyle Larson to win the race, but Reddick to win the championship.
All right. Next spin goes to and Tyler, I am so glad that you didn't take my pick. I am taking Tyler Reddick.
I respect that. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this year we don't have to have a winner. The Deas don't have to win.
Yep.
It is possible with how this is going.
Last pick goes to Jayme.
Shocker. I'm just glad that there's 3 of us this week.
Yep.
I'm going with my pick. It'd be silly not to choose somebody that's not in the Final 4, so I'm going Ryan Blaney.
Alrighty.
I respect that. I went outside the box because you never know.
Yeah. I mean, look at last year. Ross Chastain won the race, but Blaney won the championship. So
the past, I was looking at some stats, and let me pull it back up just so I have it correct. Phoenix. Raceway.
What? I have a feeling I know where you're going with this, Jamie.
Yep. So if you look into like with the spring race, Ryan Blaney finished 5th. If you look at last year's championship race, the one that Ross Chastain won, Ryan Blaney was 2nd. If you go to the spring race
of 2023, okay,
that William Byron won, Ryan Blaney was 2nd. Even if you go back to when Joey Logano won, Ryan Blaney was second.
Yep. He's got great stats at Phoenix. I mean, it's hard to argue with that pick, honestly.
I respect the hell out of that pick, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, you could have picked it. You have first overall dibs.
I chose Larson for a reason.
I know.
Even though
it's
he's
hard to go against Larson.
It's like he's out of the championship, but it still doesn't mean he's not going to have a shot to win.
Yep.
Come on, it's Kyle Larson. Do you really expect him to give up, even though he's out of the championship?
With how his races have been going since the playoffs have hit, anything can happen. He's not the same Kyle Larson that everyone fears.
Oh God, no.
Nope. So before we close the show out, we are going to do another rousing round of Jayme's trivia. So, Jayme, what do you have for us this evening?
Yes. So, with it being Phoenix Raceway, I was kind of looking up some things, and very rarely does a track get its name changed. Like, we've seen it with Dover International Raceway, now turned into Dover Motor Speedway. Phoenix, it used to be Phoenix International Raceway, ISM Raceway, and now just simply Phoenix Raceway. But what was the most unusual name for Phoenix Raceway?
Oh, I know this. I'll go first. It was Jeff Gordon Raceway.
Yes.
Damn it, you beat me to it. You literally said it just as I tried to say it.
That was 2015 when Gordon retired.
Yep.
That's a good one. I thought your question was going to be how many times has Phoenix undergone a name change?
I was going to say, yeah, there's quite a bit. I think 5 or 6 times, I believe it's gone.
Yeah, I thought about going it that way, but another tidbit was...
You could have gone who had the most wins at Phoenix Raceway overall.
Well, what I was going to say is who got their last race win at Phoenix.
Oh, I already know that one. That was easy. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 2015, rain shortened race.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why would you ask a Dale Earnhardt Jr. for something so easy?
Ultimately eliminated Logano from the playoffs that night after he got eliminated by Logano at Talladega that year.
Oh, yeah, the irony. I remember the irony of that.
It was glorious.
I was laughing so hard.
Well, that is going to do it for our show tonight. When you guys see me next, I will have a new baby. So hopefully all goes well there with mama and baby. Just guys, I mean, we'll be posting pictures and stuff in the group chat, so you'll all see her and all that good stuff. But I'm excited. It's gonna be my last one.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be my last.
Okay, are you sure about that?
Yes, 100%.
Are you guys doing certain things that's going to cause you not to be able to?
Both of us are. Yes.
I respect that. I respect the hell out of that.
My wife jokatively said that to me after we had our son, and I was like, I am not a dog. I will not be neutered.
The thing is I've been talking to my girlfriend about. Well, she says we're waiting until after we get married to have a kid.
Well, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. But as always, a big thank you to all of our sponsors for this podcast: Century, Sleeves, Duke Cannon, Bulletproof Coffee, W Energy, Fanatics, Fubo TV, the Alkali Project. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this podcast and getting us first year. We got one episode left after this.
And maybe one mini.
Yeah, we might do one or two during the off season. I know we got that special one coming up with that little kid that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna get that. Yeah. I'm gonna get the ball rolling on that after we get settled in with the baby and stuff. But for everybody that listened this year, thank you for listening, and making this first year of this podcast fantastic. First time I've ever gotten to do this, and it's an honor. Thank you my wife got me in touch with Ben, but thank you, Ben, for allowing me to do this. If you listen to this podcast, but until next time, I'm Greg, and for Jayme and Tyler and everyone here at the Lap Down, this has been the Lap Down podcast, and we will see you guys after championship weekend.
Cheers.